Good morning. It's Sunday today, and I had a 3 days break, posting positive videos of me singing. I thought I'd keep the weekends for positive, sort of sharing, rather than be the bearer of bad news. We all need to have that balance in our lives. So I thought weekends will be positive. However, I was dying to cover this story, since people are shy to tell the truth. And you know me, I am journeying into justice and truth. Jujat. Okay, to have it short. However, I'm sure the whole world would have heard about the London tragedy, where a block of apartments or high-rise flats engulfed into flames, and 50 plus blacks and Muslim children and women died in that house fire. And the firemen and police, speculate there are more people, ethnic minorities, mostly blacks, mixed race, and Muslims, who will obviously still be found, bodies which are still buried in that house fire. However, what is alarming about this national tragedy is that Theresa May, the Prime Minister, she did not go and visit these black babies, black women who were caught up and lost their lives in this house fire. The Prime Minister, Theresa May, a white feminist, decided to go and visit not the victims, but the fire brigade, the firefighters. Now, this woman was campaigning to try to save her neck from being executed, from being cast aside from the Conservative Party, because she had a very bad low turnout when she tried to get an overwhelming majority, in the election. But it backfired. Everything she did backfired. But still, she clung on to being Prime Minister, even though it was a hung decision. But still, she hung on to power, and she was fighting for her life. She refused to budge, out of office. People want to get rid of her, but she refused it. And what's interesting, you would think to yourself that in this situation, she would have been, this white feminist would have been fake and at least pretend that she cared about the black and Muslim lives who were lost in the house fire. But instead, she went to visit the fire brigade, almost as if her nature, this isn't my words, this is the words of her own colleagues, a white male, Michael Portillo, said she was insensitive. This white feminist, this white lesbian feminist, who all they care about is white women, that causes, that's all they care about. The cult of white feminist, organization. It's a cult. All they care about is themselves, nobody else. Just like the LGBT. I made a video the other day saying that 80% of black men, 80% of black homosexuals have said they've experienced rampant racism by the LGBT. 80%. It's a cult. All they care about is themselves. So they can be hardcore racist and not be exposed for it. Why? They're minority groups, quote unquote. It's an abuse of civil rights. However, Theresa May a white feminist, couldn't even act. She couldn't even pretend and put on a circus show. She turned her back on the mostly black mixed race victims and a couple of Muslims. Every time I looked at the newspaper, it was purely black babies that died in a house fire, and black mothers, and a few Muslims, mostly ethnic minorities. And what was she trying to tell white people when she did not visit those black victims? The same as George Bush during Hurricane Katrina. The same thing happened when it comes to black people caught up in disaster. What are they trying to tell the white public? If this was an LGBT disaster, my God, all over Facebook there'd be LGBT flags. I couldn't find one flag on Facebook for the black victims. Not one flag. Nobody painted their face the Jamaican color or whatever and showed. Nobody did that. But it was LGBT during was it in Manchester? No, sorry, Orlando. Orlando, with a gay person himself, a Muslim gay himself, went to a gay club, which is always an indicator that these people are gay. Why go to a gay club? You must be fighting your sexual feelings. This gay Muslim, and the newspaper came out in the end that he was on the down low, this gay Muslim who I think it went to Orlando or shot fire or something, and everybody put a gay flag. We're supporting you. But nobody supported the victims, the black victims. Worst disaster in modern times in England for black people, for ethnic minorities, mixed race children who all died, and the numbers are still accumulating. But Theresa May, she had no problem ignoring the victims. Why? Why was she so confident that she could ignore black lives and still stay in power? Why was she so confident? If that was LGBT, there'd be a war. If that was LGBT. But black lives, you can do anything you want and it doesn't ruin your career. What's worse about this had to be Britain, not America. This had to be Britain. All the white racists were out and laughing at the tragedy, but the newspaper had to, they don't want to show the deep hate when it comes to nationalism and race. If it was LGBT and somebody was laughing, oh! But because these white racists were laughing at the ethnic minority victims, the newspaper, only one newspaper covered it. I think only one. The rest quietened it. In other words, racism is so full of hate that people will justify the death of a baby in the name of white nationalism. It was a long weekend of me posting beautiful music. I had to build you up to this. It's not a very good story to begin on a Sunday. Theresa May, the feminist, she showed that nationalism is deeper than the so-called friendly division between the white feminist and the so-called white enemy, the white male. It's all a game when it comes down to it. White feminists are a goddamn racist. Michael Portillo, a real staunch conservative white male, he was shocked. He called his own boss insensitive and cold, meaning a white male would have gone and visit the victims, a white male. But the white feminist, she did no such thing. It was LGBT, but what they did as well, they tried to, whenever they talk about racism, they had to bring LGBT into it to water it down. This time, they says, oh, with the newspapers, race and class. Race and class. Class had nothing to do with it. If it was all white people, working class, in the house fire, the whole nation would have been in mourning. Theresa May would have been there first. It's had nothing to do with race and class. It's to do with racism purely. It was black people's lives, and black people don't count. Every time there's a disaster, what they're trying to do, they're trying to propagate and socially, politically engineer young whites to not value black lives. It's very powerful in the way they do it. But the mere fact, Michael Portillo and a lot of conservatives, you know, were saying what she did was evil. It tells you the mind of white feminists are so racist. I've always said that in my videos. White feminists have a serious issue with race. They're there for themselves. They're there for their own empowerment. No white feminist has ever campaigned for black civil rights, but they've used the black civil rights for their own agenda, in which to try to meet up the white man side by side, make happy children, and run the empire. They have never ever championed black causes, never, nor the LGBT. It's all been well to attack white males for being racist, all been attacking white males, but the truth be known, LGBT and feminists run this goddamn world. Theresa May had ample opportunity to show that black lives have value. I'm not going to put the matter because it's a politically horrible term now. Black lives have value. She had every ample opportunity to make that awareness, but what did she do? She showed her true nature. She was a goddamn racist feminist. When I saw those children, the picture of black children dying in house fires, and she didn't care. Who did she visit? The fire brigade, the fire officers. And the mere fact that the victims, after she decided, after my career's on the line, because Michael Portillo, her, you know, colleague, said she has to go, she has to go, she has to go. That was suicide. She decided to go and visit the victims, and the victims booed her. They interrupted her speech. So the armed police, these are black victims, the police had to come in and pull her away from these victims. It was said that they were warned about this this apartment and that it was a fire risk. If that was white, working class, even companies have to make sure they have fire regulation in homes, etc., or you shut down. Even a piece of furniture has to have fire regulation. But when it comes to black lives, they kept the building going, kept it going, charging them rent. I didn't care about fire regulation. It was only black people. Only, I don't know any other building, working class, white working class, or LGBT building that don't have fire regulation. They will shut it down. But because it was blacks, anything goes. People hate the truth, and they will hate this video. If it's white victims, oh! But because it's black victims, people try and find any excuse to cover up hate. Any excuse. They said that, you know, some racists even laugh. That's when you know that racism is nothing more than psychosis. It's a damn evil disease that you can laugh. I can't stand the religion of Islam. I would never laugh if I saw a Muslim baby dying in a house fire. I would laugh if I saw a Muslim woman dying in a house fire. That's what you call real phobia. LGBT is not phobia. They're playing games with racism. Racism is a real phobia.